Though the Bible doesn't come right out and prohibit gambling per se, it's hard to imagine Jesus or Paul working the tables in Las Vegas, isn't it? For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many grief. For some, in their desire for wealth, gambling becomes the snare that Satan uses to seek to destroy them. In Matthew 25, we read about the parable of the talents. Again, it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents of money, to another 2 talents, and to another 1 talent, each according to ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received 5 talents went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 more. So also the one with 2 talents gained 2 more. But the man who had received 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled account with them. The man who had received 5 talents brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 talents. See, I have gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. The man with 2 talents also came. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 2 talents. See, I have gained 2 more. And his master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. Then the man who had received the 1 talent came. Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid, and I went out and hid your talent in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you. His master replied, you wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvest where I have not sown, and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I return, I would have received it back with interest. Take the talent from him, and give it to one who has 10 talents. For everyone who has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken from him. And throw that worthless servant outside in the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. How could one apply the teaching here to the problem of gambling, especially when the vast majority of people who gamble lose? Plain and simple, gambling is for losers. The industry thrives because a lot more money is lost than won. What, for instance, are the chances of winning the lottery? The odds are staggeringly against you. You have more chance of getting hit by lightning than you do of winning. Logic alone should warn us against putting any money and time into gambling. After all, the gambling industry can exist only when people lose more than they make. Yet, people gamble, and soon what they thought of as fun later becomes a compulsion. Why? Self-esteem needs seem to be at the core. Many find a special satisfaction in fantasizing about winning. When they do not win, they become increasingly hopeful about hitting it the next time. So, they gamble again and again. When all the money is spent, they borrow, lie, and may steal in order to get another dose of this non-chemical drug. We may think that gambling addiction does not happen in our church, but E.G.W. wrote about it in her time, for it was a problem even then. There is no reason to believe that today, when gambling is ubiquitous, our church members are free from this problem, especially as online gambling can bring the casino right into our homes. Recovery from gambling takes a multiple front. First is to admit that you have a serious problem. Then you must quit at once, but find refuge in a group, if available, in order to avoid relapse. Be alert and stay away from any stimulus that may entice you to gamble. Enhancing self-esteem also is necessary to avoid relapse. Most important, constant communication with God and clinging to His promises of healing is crucial when struggling with any temptation. When considering addictive behaviors, Christians generally condemn chemical dependencies, pornography, and other taboos. Other addictions often escape such scathing rebukes, although they are no less sinful. Indeed, some appear endemic to Christian organizations. Loving money is certainly one of those white-collar addictions, generally escaping condemnation and often cloak in acceptability. Ironically, the Apostle Paul identified money worship as evil's root. Of course, money merely represents what may be accomplished by its possession. People worship money for the power it affords them. In pursuing the love of power, there are many pathways: political, organizational, as well as financial. Eventually, all are traced back to self-love, for instance, self-centeredness. By extension, evil is rooted in self-centeredness that has assumed the form of money loving. Interestingly enough, the New Living Translation of 1 Timothy 6:10 uses the language of addiction, craving money, to describe people who long to be rich, and those who fall into temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction.